Hey guys, welcome back. So in the previous video we created the home screen, and in this video we'll be creating the add trip screen. But before that, as you can see, all the cards are showing, but if I change them items to an empty array, it won't show anything. It should show a message. So for that we need to create a new component, list, empty list. Okay, so this component will be used for showing an empty list. We will be using this component on other lists as well. So let's just use it and see what it looks like. With the flat list, you can add a property called list empty component. This will basically use this component whenever there's no data. So when I add that, it shows empty list. So let's design it, but before that you need to add the components path in your tailwind configuration file. This will make sure that you can use the tailwind classes in components files as well. So let's design it. Let's see if it's working. If I add a class name of text red, it should make it red. Yes, it's working. So let's design this empty list component. Let's make it bold and a text gray. Okay, we need to also add an image here. Width of 36. Little shadow and the source. I've already added an image for that. Empty.png. We haven't imported image yet. Yeah, okay. So when I save this should show it like this, and we need to center it as well. And a little margin as well. Okay, so we will not be showing this empty list text here. We'll be using our own custom message for that. So this will show the message. If message is not there, we can show data not found. Obviously we need to pass this message to this component as well. So yeah, we need to import it. So yeah, now we need a little spacing here. Okay, so now we will pass a message from home component from here. So this will show the message accordingly. You have not recorded any trips yet. Okay, so this will use this message and show in the empty list component. Okay, so now that's done, we can use the items back. And now let's add the add trip screen component. Also, let's add another component, add expense. We'll be using that after. Okay, so let's use the React Native functional component and in the other component as well. Okay, so we need to add them to app navigation so that we can navigate to them. Let's just copy paste this. Add trip and add expense. And trip, this will auto import that trip screen and add expense screen. Now let's get back to the home screen. Okay, so now we need to add a function here so that when we click this button, it should navigate to the screen that we just created. So we can use the on press on the touchable opacity, and this will navigate to the new screen. But we can use the and use navigation hook from React Native. This will allow us to navigate to this new screen. You can use it like this, use navigation, and you can use this navigation variable to navigate to the new screen. We just need to use navigate method and pass the name of the screen. So now when we click it, it should take me to the new screen. Okay, so now let's design the add trip screen. First of all, we need to add the screen wrapper because we have this notch area. Screen wrapper. Okay, now we need to add some views. I think we will need 2 views. Let's add them. And another view. Okay, so this view will show right here, and we will show a title and a back button on the top and a banner image, and then we'll have some inputs. And this view will show in at the bottom, and it will have just one button, add trip. We will just flex them so there's a space between them. So let's add flex classes, flex, and justify between, and height full. Okay, so let's add the title for the screen. Title should be add trip, and let's design it. We need to add the color from our theme. So $sign colors. Sorry, we need to add the import the colors as well. Adding, and text should be large, font bold, and it should be centered like this. Okay, the next thing is we need to add a back button here, but we will be using another component for that because we can use the same component on other screens as well. So we'll create a back button component, React Native functional component. So let's just save it and use it here. Back button. Okay, so it's showing. Because this is a button, we need to wrap it in touchable opacity. So let's add it. Touchable opacity. And this is not a text, this should be a icon. So for icons, we will be using a library React Native HeroIcons. This is the library, and you can install it using this command, and there is a usage instruction of how you can use the icons. So let's install it. Let's copy this command and copy paste. There is a website for all the HeroIcons. You can use them like here. So this is a website for HeroIcons. We have different categories of icons: outlined, solid, and mini icons. We'll be using outlined icons, and we'll be using chevron left icon. This is icon for showing the back button. So let's import it. It's installed from HeroIcons, from outlined ones. Okay, chevron left. So to use this, we need to specify the name of the icon and the size for the icon. Size 30. Okay, let's save it. And this error is coming from the React Native SVG component. So to fix this, you need to cd into your iOS folder and then add pod install command. This will install the React Native SVG. This is because of we installed this component. That's why. So installing the React Native SVG. Oh, it's finished. Let's cd back and see if it's fixed. So if it still shows this error, you need to run the npm run iOS. This will rebuild the application, and once that's done, okay, it is fixed and it is showing the arrow icon. Okay, so we need to add a color to this as well. We will use our own theme color, colors dot button. And now we need to design this. So background white and rounded, it should be rounded. Height and width of 8. Okay, so what else we need? Flex, justify, center, items, and I think we don't need to add the flex here, so let's just remove it. Now let's add an on press function. So when we click on this, this should take us back to the previous component. We can use the React navigation here, use navigation hook, and we have a function on navigation that as go back. So this will take us back to the previous component. Okay, so it's working. Now let's just align them so they look perfect. We will need to, okay, I think we need to make it absolute so we can place it wherever we want. The parent should be relative and this should be in another view. Here, and if we assign an absolute class, the top 0 and left 0 should make it look good. Okay, so now let's add a little margin from top and horizontal next 4, and a little margin top to this component. Okay, this looks good. Now let's add the banner image. Okay, we'll just choose a random image from our assets. 72 and width of 72. Source. Sorry, assets, images, and let's say 4.png. Okay, so this is not right. This view should be inside this component, and this text and back button should be in another view. So let's just create a new view and add the class of relative and move this to here, because this proportion is one view and below we will have a button only. Okay, let's move it to center, flex row, justify center, and a vertical margin of 3. Margin top should be 5. Okay, now let's move it to the next section. We will add some inputs here. To add the trip, we will need a text, where on earth, on earth, and we can use a text input from React Native to get the input from the user, and another text, which country. And text input. Okay, so this doesn't look good, so let's design it. Design both texts. We will need to use the color from our theme. So okay, text should be large and font bold. Okay, so let's design them inputs as well. Padding 4, background should be white and they should be rounded. Full and margin bottom of 3. Sorry, they should be rounded, not founded. Okay, now they look good. Let's add a little spacing vertically. Cross space Y by 2 and a little margin horizontally. Okay, now let's add a button at the bottom. So this should be a touchable opacity because this is a button. So opacity and a text saying add drip. Now it's showing right down, so we need to style it. Margin Y of 6, rounded full, and padding of 3, shadow. Okay, we need to add the color, background color from our theme. So background colors dot mutton. Oh, I think it should be background color. Let's add a little margin horizontally. And now let's design this text. Okay, so text should be centered, text white, text should be large, and font should be bold. Okay, so this is done. Now let's add these variables for place and country. Then now we can use the use state hook from React Native. It will give us the place and set place as a function to set this value. So by default it should be empty string, and the first parameter is country and the second set country and an empty string. Now let's add a method for adding the trip. This will be triggered when user clicks on add trip. So we'll check if there is a place and country, then it's good to go. Otherwise we will show an error message. For now let's just use the navigation to go back to the home screen, but later we will use Firebase to add the trip. Oh, we haven't used the use hook, use navigation. So use navigation, and if there is a place and country we need to navigate back to the home screen. When we add Firebase we will add the trip to Firebase, then we will navigate back to the home. Sorry, use state is not imported. Okay, now we need to add these states to the inputs. Okay, we can add the value here like this, place, and we can use the on change text method. This will be triggered every time user adds a text in the input. So this gives us value, and we need to set this value in the set place method. Set place. Okay, so similarly we just need to copy paste this for the country as well. So like this, So this will add the value, this will change the state and give us the place and country. Now when we add data and click on add trip, this will trigger the handle add trip, and when there is both place and country, this will take us back to the home screen. So now we get back to the home screen. So when we add this, it should take us back to the home screen. Oh, that's because we haven't added the on press button, on press function. Handle add trip. So now when there's both country and place, it should take us back to the home screen. Let's add country and try this. It's still not working. Place, country, right. Oh, we have added the value and change text on the text property. It should be on the text input. Okay, so now all good. When we add data and add trip, this navigates to the home screen. Okay, so this is it for this video. We have successfully designed the add trip screen. In the next video, we'll be designing the expense screen and add expense screen. So see you in the next video.